So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Best iPhones of 2020. Now in this episode, I'm going to give you my take on which are the best iPhones that you could have bought in 2020 and why I chose those. And we're going to put them kind of in order. Now for me, the best iPhone of 2020 is the iPhone 12. Now this is the regular iPhone 12. Some people are going to love the mini. Some people are going to love the Max. But I think as an overall balanced device, this is the best because it has the cameras you need. It shoots the video quality you need. It's pretty light. It also feels premium. It doesn't really get all smudgy on the side, anything like that. It has similar specs to the best iPhone and at a reasonable price for what you get here. So the iPhone 12 for me wins it out. It also has the most upgraded feeling here because it goes from an LCD on the 11 to an OLED display here. So it's the one that feels like it was most upgraded this year. It also does HDR video. It has 4K 60 on the front and rear. So you don't have to buy a Max to get pro-like cameras. You don't have to buy the mini if you want a little bit better battery life. To me, the iPhone 12 was the best option of 2020 for most consumers. Now, the second option I think that is the best is both the 12 Pro Max and the 12 Pro. Now, the reason I give it this award is because they have the best cameras ever seen on an iPhone. That goes for the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, and they could zoom, especially this 12 Pro Max can zoom even further into 12x. In addition, the video quality on this phone is just insane. You literally probably could replace your camera if you're not doing it for, commercial work and stuff like that. If you're just using it as a consumer grade camera, and even some pros could replace their camera, depends on what you're doing. The 12 Pro series, with its beautiful stainless steel edges, with that beautiful back, just overall feeling extremely premium, super bright display at 800 nits. It just came in with a decent battery life over something like the iPhone 12 mini or the SE from 2020. These Pro models feel like the best Apple has ever done. So especially the Max being just such a large 6.7 inch display, having amazing video quality, giving LiDAR sensors. This is the second best option this year, I think, for most consumers. And while it is the best iPhone ever made, I feel like in the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, I couldn't give it number one because for some people, they just don't want to pay that price for the iPhone 12 Pro, but that's why I put the 12 there. But for the third one, this is going to come as a little bit of a shocker, but in 2020, most of the year until around the fall, you could buy the 11 Pro and the Pro Max, and I think these devices are definitely going third in the line here. And the reason why is that they retain most of what made them amazing last year. While the 5G did come to the 12 Pro Max and the 12, these are 4G LTE phones, they still feel ultra premium here, and they have amazing cameras as well. And it's not like the other phones don't, but there was just nothing really that felt like you needed such a major upgrade here on the 11 Pro and the Pro Max. So, I mean, yeah, you might like the square edges, but again, if you held on to this phone and you continue to hold on to this phone, I think you're going to be definitely happy with that choice, as the 13 series will, of course, be better than the 12. So the 11 Pro and Pro Max, if you got your hands on one of these, don't be disappointed if you picked one up and then the 12s came out. They're still amazing devices, and I still love that beautiful green right there on the 11 Pro series. Now, my next option is the 12 mini, and some of you might be saying, Nick, bro, why'd you put the 11 Pro in front of the 12 mini? It has the A14 chipset, and the only reason is I think the battery hindered this from being one of the best iPhone experiences. It's definitely noticeable if you had an 11 Pro series device, an 11 series device, the battery just doesn't make it for heavy usage. And I think these days, staying home a lot, we're using our phones a lot. So definitely these devices right here definitely didn't have the best battery life. They can get through a day. And while it does have amazing ergonomics, I really love using this phone. Reaching side to side is super easy. I think it's more of a niche phone for people who want a really small device. I just wish it had like a 3000 milliamp hour battery or something a little bit larger that could have made this thing really impressive. That one change, and it would have outdid the 11 Pro in this list for me of best iPhone experiences and ones to buy here at the end of 2020. So 12 mini really tight with the 11 Pro, but I had to put it slightly below that device, even though it has some better specs than the 11 Pro. Now, the next phone I'm gonna pick is the iPhone 11, and this one's still for sale, and for very good reason. The iPhone 11 is no joke of a device. This phone right here has the Apple A13 CPU. It comes in at a very good price here, super fast, 4 gigs of RAM. It has the ultra wide camera, same one from the 11 Pro. These are amazing, phenomenal cameras. Can do 4K 60 on the rear and on the front. And this video not only is a very high res, it's also extremely sharp to focus, no problems with focusing whatsoever. So you're gonna just have a super reliable device here. And what's really nice about the 11 is it has better battery life than both the 12 and 12 mini in my experience. So definitely you can count on this one. Wireless charging. It did come with a charger in the box at one point, but yeah, the 11 definitely has to make its way into the list. You can definitely get it in multiple different colors, has a solid aluminum build around the edges. Super popular phone, 2019 going into most of 2020. Being a leader in sales, the 11 is still a very strong offering that Apple still sells today. So definitely the 11 going right after that 12 mini. Now, the next one in line is the SE 2020. Now, the reason I put this here, and there is a phone that some would argue is a better option, but I'm putting the SE here because the SE does give you that rocket speed that you want from these newer iPhones. It's going to give you the A13 Bionic chip, and it does have a camera that basically matches the single camera on the 11. You will basically notice no real difference in your main shots here. And there's just something so clean about this single lens here. This super thin body, super lightweight. This phone feels like a dream to use, to hold. I don't know how else to explain it. I just think that if you picked one of these up, you'll just be impressed by how fast it is. And while the battery like the mini is not super impressive, the price kind of makes you not get upset about that. I mean, this phone's not costing $700 like that device. This one's in the threes, so I can live with a little bit worse battery life for this price point of the mini. And it has that classic home button feel that came in really good handy here in 2020. So definitely the iPhone SE 2020, super impressive. You've seen a lot of speed tests this year. This thing was stomping on some other phones out there. So definitely a little mighty powerhouse in that SE 2020. Definitely love that one. And the last one, the best iPhones I'm putting on the list, is the iPhone XR. Now, we talked about this one 2 years later, just shortly ago. I think it was a few days ago, maybe a week ago. This phone right here definitely got that clean look like the iPhone SE 2020 with a single camera. It just feels like a budget version of the iPhone 11, just slightly worse. Not much worse though. It actually had a little bit better battery life in my experience than the iPhone 11, but that single camera still is very acceptable. Again, this one can do 4K 60. The front video, a little bit of a letdown. I mean, it's still good, but it doesn't do 4K on the front, so that's a little bit of a sacrifice there. It's not the perfect iPhone, but it nails the basics. Most general, everyday iPhone users would be totally fine with a XR, even today, right now, as you're seeing this video. It handles the iPhone basics very well with a decent sized screen. It does have the notch. Most of these iPhones had the notch still, but it still feels very modern. So the XR makes the list there. And I'm going to give an honorable mention to the iPhone XS and XS Max. Now, while you cannot buy these phones at the Apple Store, you can buy these secondhand. And these are the best, I think, offerings used if you're looking for a yesteryear iPhone that doesn't feel super outdated. These still definitely can beat out a lot of Android phones in overall build and design. Not all of them, but the iPhone XS and XS Max still running the latest software, still very premium feeling phones. And if you want a used iPhone and you don't want it to feel like an iPhone SE 2020 or like an 8 Plus, anything like that, I highly recommend taking a look at a iPhone XS or XS Max. Just make sure if you do pick one up, you have them show you the battery health or find out what the battery health is, because you don't want to get one with low capacity and then all of a sudden you're like, this phone is trash, battery's draining right before my eyes. And so that is it here. Those are the best iPhones of 2020 that I basically think were worth picking up. And so in conclusion, iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro Max and 12 Pro, iPhone 11 Pro series, iPhone 12 mini, iPhone 11, iPhone SE, iPhone XR, and XS Max. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you planning on picking any of these up going forward? If you have any of these iPhones, explain why you chose that phone and why you would recommend it to somebody else to pick up. And if you're like, no bro, Nick, listen, I'm waiting till the 13. I'm waiting. I just don't care about upgrading right now. That's fine too. Let us know down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you all in the next one. Be sure to be well, and peace.